I'm Megan Bennett.
I'm Leslie Meyer.
And this is Gen X Women Are Sick of This Shit. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Megan.
How are you today?
I got a haircut.
Good for you. It looks pretty.
My bangs were going up my nose. They were so long.
They're so long, they're curling back up.
So that feels like a nice thing to have done. I didn't shower, but I got my haircut.
I love it. It's very pretty. Did you get color touched up too?
Not today. End of March.
Nice.
We'll get there.
It's pretty.
So that's not really how I am. That is a thing that I did.
It's what you am.
A potential mood enhancer.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am okay. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This month. This year so far.
This year so far.
This year's been a very long year.
1 month and 22 days. The longest year of my life
ever.
So far.
It's just been a lot. But it's okay. Spring will be here and that will make everything a little better.
Yes. Agreed. Because it won't be so fucking cold.
Right.
And
the sun will be out and trees and flowers and leaves and stuff.
And if you live in Indianapolis,
we do,
there might be fewer holes in the roads.
Yeah, good luck with that.
In a couple months.
Good luck with
as
that.
Spring emerges, there'll be fewer craters.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. It's just the freeze thaw.
Oh, it's so bad.
Anything about it. And this year's been particularly bad with that.
Oh, yeah. And the same spots year after year.
Uh-huh.
I call them driving on the moon when I reach these areas where I have to pause to navigate. And I really need a massive suspension. I'm like, ooh, I've arrived at the moon.
My
go.
Mini Cooper has not been out of the garage because she will fall in a hole.
Goodbye.
We can't have that.
Down underground.
Yes. Anywho, yeah, it's it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Are you holding your mini dumpster fire in your hand?
Right. I had a
at
sweatshirt.
the same time.
I had a sweatshirt during COVID that said, "It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine." I feel like that again. It's fine.
And you're just dead.
Mm-hmm. You're a little dead inside.
On
it's
the
fine.
ground.
Yeah.
Let's do a show.
Cool beans. That'll make things better.
It will.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to talk about escapism.
I love it. Yes,
escapism
please.
From the 80s. But we're not just going to go right to the main topic. We're going to start with our two favorite segments.
We've got some bullshit and hot goss.
We do have some bullshit and hot goss.
Talk to me, Leslie. What's our bullshit and our hot goss today?
Our hot goss today is all about the re-release of Prince, Purple Rain.
In theaters, no less, right?
One day only, March 5th, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Dolby will re-release Purple Rain for one night. I'm reading this I have no vocal differentiation or comprehension whatsoever.
I am
exclusively in
this.
Dolby Cinemas. The film will be presented in Dolby Vision High Dynamic Range. You don't need to know these things.
Absolutely friggin' nothing.
It's going to sound great. You're going to feel like you are right there in the middle of some hot sex magic.
Sexy Prince.
And
so
live music.
That movie was smoky hot. Smoky hot.
Fuck yeah.
And it'll be really fun. So I think that's AMC theaters, right?
You guys can Google, right? You can look it up.
I think it's AMC theaters. But yeah.
That sounds good.
One night only. So you got to get your tickies while you can get your tickies.
This is my favorite part, I think, of this very technical description of the re-release. The picture and sound quality will exceed even the 40th anniversary version 4K disc released in May 2024, whose transfer was restored digitally from an 8K scan. I mean, I must have picked the most technical description to throw into my notes ever.
If you saw it on the last re-released anniversary edition, prepare to hold on to your butts, everybody. It's going to be so much better.
All the sweat is going to feel real. It's actually going to be in like 4D surround, like you're in Disney.
The rain will actually be purple.
In the movie theaters falling on your heads.
It'll be purple. You will get wet on this ride. I mean, it is a sexy movie.
Speaking of sex, Megan.
Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex. Bullshit and hot goss. We were we were questioning the veracity of a conversation that was happening in the Facebook group about frequency of sexual encounters amongst long-term couples.
Yes. So for married folks, when somebody put in the group, they wanted to know how many times a week the married couples were getting it on. Mm-hmm. And some people were getting it on a lot.
Yep. Like every night.
Like, and some people were like more than once a day. I'm like, damn, ladies.
Everybody working from home, I guess. Maybe that's had an impact.
Oh, I wonder.
If like the pivot to more work from home jobs, you just have more opportunities for some
you
coitus.
And your hubs are walking around.
You don't have to be married. You know, just long-term
well, but in the case of this one, they were asking like whether you were married. Yeah. But I mean, you're walking around and your significant other is also working, and you
making a sandwich,
accidentally bump into each other in the kitchen,
and
then you bump into each other again, and then again, and then again. You get some mayonnaise on you. I don't know.
Oops! How did my dick get in there? I don't know.
Whoops. I love it.
So that's sort of interesting because it's I think in many ways when folks talk about, in our age group, talk about menopause, it does impact sex drive.
Yeah.
And I do think that many folks experience a return to or resurgence of their sex drive. It's also like kind of true, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
Yeah. I think, that's true. And I guess it depends on, I mean, it's all hormone related.
Like your clitoris.
Because that will fade away, ladies.
That will fade away.
You got to use it. The hormones obviously have a lot to do with all of this, right? Like if you don't have enough testosterone, then it's really hard to be interested in sex. That's like the thing that really makes you, want to do it.
Yep.
Which is why dudes apparently want to do it all the time, because of the testosterone.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if you don't have that hormone, then that makes it difficult. I think also if you are post-menopause and you don't have to worry about having no babies no more.
Yeah, there's amazing freedom in that.
Yeah, like condoms.
Yes, it can be the recreational activity it always should have
been. Birth control pills. Don't need that anymore.
Nope.
Just go to town.
Have fun.
Mm-hmm. So apparently there are a lot of Gen X women who are having a lot of sex. There's a lot that aren't. There was a number of people who were like, I haven't had it in a very long time, and I get it.
Personal preference. Absolutely. Yeah. Whether circumstance, health, choice, tough relationships in the past, not having positive experiences. There's so much that goes into that and how you frame your sexual experiences. And like, you have a body that can experience good sensations.
Yeah. And some of us aren't built that way. So
yeah,
sometimes. But anyway, lots of people having lots of sex.
So Prince being back in movie theaters maybe is a harbinger for Gen X.
Going to make you have more sex.
There you go. Just buy that ticket.
One night only.
Take that ride. So there. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We could talk about that more, but I'm sure it'll come up again. What shit are we sick of today? With my long vocal pause. Did you like that transition?
It was good. What did you pull out that we were sick of today?
Plastic shoes.
Oh, plastic shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Those goddamn jellies.
Those
Is that what we're talking about?
Goddamn jellies.
Why are they back?
I don't know. I don't understand. It's an aesthetic.
They're not comfortable.
No.
There's zero. Nothing gives you blisters as fast as a plastic shoe rubbing on your foot. Why?
Well, and it's not a style of shoe that's like coming back around where there have been massive improvements made to like
they're the same
soles
friggin' shoe
or the support or anything. They are the same hunks of rubber that we had on our feet when, I think I was probably like 10, 11, 12 when I last wore Jellies. Your feet sweat, they smell, you get blisters. They're very uncomfortable.
They're flat. Do we have Crocs to thank for this?
Crocs are comfortable.
At least they're foamy and poofy. But was that the transition back to like
this is like
rubber shoes?
Is this retro Crocs? Like, are we going like Crocs were the new rubber shoe? And then they're like, oh my gosh, you guys. I looked at one of my mom's old photo albums and I was like, I need
Look how
those.
Cool those are. So I did see that Steve Madden has his own line of jelly shoes. And I'm like, I want to get on the phone and call Steve Madden and say, Mr. Steve Madden, you and I are normally aligned in our shoe love. Like, I like what you put out. I think they're fun. But what the fuck, Steve Madden, with plastic rubber, right? See them?
So bad.
They're so bad. They are colorful.
I just want to share, you all are being lied to. And you're spending...
Wait. How much are those?
Oh,
Are those $50 plastic shoes?
They're $50.
Those are $50.
And these are just waterproof Birkenstocks, so don't buy those, y'all. Just go buy the waterproof Birkenstocks.
Those are like, look, they're blue.
Look.
And they're
This orange. Is the height of consumerism. You're being lied to. Don't buy these. This is ridiculous.
They also come up a little higher than previous.
There's some, but like look,
Jellies.
They're those little, like the ones at the...
Like the ballerina flat.
Yeah,
kind of
they look exactly the same. I have no idea. I'll be curious if somebody ever writes like a history of the jelly and explains to us the thinking. Maybe
if you've done your thesis on the jelly, we would
please write in and tell us all about it.
A copy of that thesis.
What if what really happened is somebody thoroughly combed all of the landfills and just pulled out jellies from when we were kids? And they've just been like recycled.
You could just dust them off.
Because you know that they're there.
Those are different. So the Steve Madden ones do come up higher.
Why do they have socks with them?
Because you get fucking blisters. I don't know, but this model, yes, has socks on with their jellies.
And look at the shorts.
And you know what? Those socks are going to get dirty.
I have there's big jean shorts holes that are really long right above the knee. Anywho, certain things can come around and I can go, oh yeah, I could see why people might be into
I
that.
Missed that. Yeah.
That was fun. I don't know that I'd put it back on now, but I love that like the 20s or the teens are wearing them.
You could bring shoulder pads back a little bit, and that's okay. I think they are. I think there's like a little resurgence of shoulder pads. That's okay. That gives structure to your, your clothes.
Yeah.
But the jelly shoes can just stay in the past.
Yeah. We're sorry.
Steve Madden, we need to talk.
You've been brainwashed, lied to. You shouldn't be there. It's okay.
You don't have to.
It won't last long. It'll probably like a year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then they'll be gone again.
Ugh.
Back in the landfill. We'll just recycle them again. So that's what we're sick of today.
Maybe it's all supposed to sell Band-Aids. Maybe it's like
that's a conspiracy theory I can get behind.
Jelly shoes are just a Band-Aid brand conspiracy. Like they want you to buy those shoes, so you have to then buy Band-Aids.
I'll buy that.
Okay. Gen X Women Are Sick of the Shit is supported by Lilas, Love You Like a Sis, a Gen X women's social club.
What's Lilas, Megan?
Lilas is our off-platform, off the Books of Faces, off all of the other traditional social media. It is our space and place for Gen X women to come together, have conversations, meet each other. It's a social club.
It is a social club. It's a membership-based club. Memberships are $10 a month. That does help support us in growing the platform. We purchased a platform that would host a network of women so that you could come together and meet each other in real time.
In a safer space,
yes,
right, than a traditional social media platform, and a much more personal space. So what do we do there, Leslie?
We host movie nights where we live stream some of our favorites as they are available to us. For group watches of films from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We host a space for a monthly book club. We host
trivia nights
once a month. We have a live text chat.
4 prizes even.
4 prizes. That's true.
Yeah.
The space is able to host like weekly text chats so that you can kind of check in real time with people. I would say the critical difference between kind of what this space is and any other social media space that I've experienced is that it is active. You will have to engage in it or be engaged in it by other people. So it's not like a passive consumption thing. It's like making connections.
Yep. And if that's what you're looking for, the opportunity to meet other people, to find people who are maybe in the same similar spaces as you are.
Like-minded, same time phase of life, navigating all of those transitions.
Then this might be the right place for you. So check out Lilas. You can learn more about it at genxwomenpod.com.
Toys. Here, pretend.
I had all of them. I had the Pegasus, and the Pegasus had like rubbery wings, and they popped off. So you could pop off the little, and you could pop them back on. And so you could bend them. So you could actually like hold the horse and make it look like it was flying.
Make it fly.
The only problem was it had one leg that was outstretched, like one of its plastic legs, and it broke off. And I was so sad because after a while it gets a little brittle. So I had to take Scotch tape and tape its little leg back on.
Had to go to the first aid.
I tried everything. I tried glue. This is Gorilla Glue and stuff like that.
Pre-fancy glue.
So I had to just use Scotch tape. And then he would fly and then it would kind of dangle. It was really sad.
And for our listening audience, Megan, what exactly are you talking about? What were these action figures from?
Rambling. So these action figures were from the fantastic movie Clash of the Titans. The original, not the new one, but the original Clash of the Titans from the 80s.
Clash of the Titans came out in 1983. I've read this note a million times and I will forget it every single time. Is that true? Probably
1981.
81. There we go.
You were close.
I was going to keep talking until I got to my note.
I was 10 years old when that fabulous piece of cinematic perfection came out.
That's amazing. Clash of the Titans, very famous Ray Harryhausen film because of the stop motion.
Yeah, like the claymation, stop motion stuff.
Creatures that were in it.
Yep.
And we're talking about this today because
we just need something to talk about that is distracting and fun.
Yeah.
And so we were going to talk about the idea of, the love that we had for kind of those science, fantasy,
the sword and sorcery films of the 80s.
Yeah, the true escapism of something as foreign to our little child brains as possible. And so we loved that stuff.
Distraction and imagination.
Yes.
Like thoughts about what is possible if we kind of
just
think.
Use your imagination. You can come up with all kinds of cool stuff.
Magically about it. Where and when? Do you have a specific memory of when you saw Clash of the Titans?
I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theaters. I'm pretty sure, but I couldn't say for sure. And part of the problem is I've seen it so many times on TV.
Yes.
That you mentioned that you and Tim watched it last night.
Yes.
And it had some different things in it than I remembered. Because I was watching the TV version for so long. So if I watched the movie version in the theaters, I was 10.
Right.
So
and you probably would not have registered certain things. Yeah.
No. But I feel like I did watch it because I had the action figures. I had all the toys and I was obsessed.
Did you have the Kraken?
I did not have the Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
And he was huge. He was like if you can find the Kraken on, like if you Google it, it's like 2 feet tall.
It's
like a
awesome.
big toy.
I love it. I do remember those toys. They were magnificent.
So good.
I know I did not see it in the movie theaters. I saw it first as a VHS rental at my home.
Yeah. Oh,
1981. I was probably 8 years old. So,
see,
oh yeah, that's awesome.
So like big Kraken toy.
Very freaking cool. Look at his huge head.
He was well, just to flash back to talking about sex. He was the 1980 Mattel Clash of the Titans 12-inch Kraken.
So there's a website.
So you can release the Kraken.
My friend shows me a website upon occasion that has toys for certain things that are modeled after certain creatures. I am certain that there is a Kraken toy on there somewhere.
Kraken toy. If there's not, that's a big missed opportunity.
We'll send a suggestion.
Big missed opportunity.
There's a wide variety of things on that website. It's fascinating. This is
so good.
A fantastic film with, really, we should start with the cast. The cast in this movie is so impressive.
It's epic. Like, when you think about this film, like I mean, did they know it was going to be a cult hit? Probably not.
Probably. Well, working with Ray Harryhausen, I think that definitely, like, they knew.
Like, people were like, ooh, I want to be part of this.
That was significant.
Yeah.
Just because of the special effects. And it was post Star Wars.
Okay.
So there was like a resurgence of interest in science fantasy, sword and sorcery films. Right. There was an escapism in the 80s the 80s sword and sorcery films there is a long list. We have done a deep dive on all of them. I don't know that we'll get into all of them today. But this cast, Laurence Olivier. I mean, somebody went to him and said, "Hey, Sir Laurence Olivier, we've got a role for you." And he was, I'm just projecting. He was probably like, I'm not sure. I don't think I want to be in this. And they said, "But wait, you get to play Zeus." And he's probably like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool." I get to play
King of the gods.
God.
Yeah.
The God,
the big
number one God.
The big dude. I'm in. So yeah, Laurence Olivier.
Fantastic. Maggie Smith.
Maggie friggin' Smith.
As Thetis.
Dame Maggie Smith. Amazing.
Gorgeous.
And then the fabulous Harry Hamlin.
Yes. Yes, indeed. As Perseus.
He was pretty hot.
He has magnificent hair in this movie.
He does. And he's got that little butt chin that's like so perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. And he looked good in a little toga.
Also
so cool.
In this film,
Burgess Meredith.
Yes, is Ammon.
So the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
if you were wondering,
I was
also the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Burgess Meredith, also Rocky films, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
He was the Penguin from the 60s Batman.
He was. That's right.
Amazing.
But I every time I hear his voice, it's just Winnie the Pooh. It's Winnie the Pooh coaching Rocky. It's very weird to me, but that's where my brain goes.
The cast was incredible. I have to say that this movie 100% influenced my 8th grade Halloween costume.
Oh, what did you go as?
That was the last year that we went trick-or-treating.
Okay.
I remember. So this is like a core memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a lot of memory. 8th grade? That's pretty accurate. But this is a core memory. We all went as different goddesses.
Nice.
And we bought really cheap satin at the fabric store, like Frank's or something, like Frank's Nursery and Crafts. And we had ribbons and pearls and vintage jewelry, but we dressed up as goddesses and went trick-or-treating in some subdivision in the Southport area. We thought we were just so fucking magnificent.
Who were you?
I don't remember my specific goddess.
Come on.
But I do remember I think there were 3 of us, and we would go ring the bell, and we were like, trick or treat, and they were like, "Oh, who are you?" And we're like, "We're goddesses." And I'm explaining,
reward me
Yeah,
mortal.
basically. So we got and that was the last of Trick or Treating. As I'm saying this, another movie is brought to my. Okay, yeah, this makes even more sense. Xanadu, another goddess movie, 1980.
Muse.
So between 80 and 81. The like Greek mythology muse, like goddess.
Olivia Newton-John is the
vibes.
muse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was beautiful.
And all of the the outfits and all of that good stuff. So that definitely was hardcore, like
big time memory. So when you watched Clash of the Titans last night, what came to mind? Like what did anything surprise you?
Titties.
Titties.
Lots of titties.
Greek titties.
Well, and what was so interesting is like we were talking about earlier, just kind of where movies were in the 80s. And as a kid, like I probably watched this really like in 83, like realistic, because it didn't go straight to video at that time.
Right.
And it just didn't. This is not a thing that stood out. It was just not a thing. You just watched the movie. Like there's like a nursing scene. There's a scene where Danae and baby Perseus are like walking down the beach. Everybody's naked. So there's lots of butts and lots of boobs. Both genders.
Not a big deal. Yep.
Not a big deal. And it was totally post. Oh my gosh. I just said this. Tipper Gore.
Oh, yeah.
With all of the censorship stuff and like, save our children. I can promise you, your kids really weren't thinking about it in the 80s when they were watching movies.
No.
So it's like almost a sensitivity or sensibility that's kind of been created as the result of drawing so much attention to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't compared to like gratuitous nudity in films today. It was just like part of the story. Right. Nobody was going, oh, look at those boobs. You know, whatever. We can have all kinds of thoughts about it, but I certainly wasn't thinking about it as a kid.
Well, and as a kid, I don't remember that scene, which I just don't. But I mean, if you watched it on TV over and over and over again, you wouldn't see that.
No,
so
absolutely.
I'm sure I saw it in the movies and probably didn't think anything of it, and then saw it on TV and it wasn't there. So obviously I didn't think anything of it. Like, oh, where's all the boobies?
Yes,
you know.
Absolutely. It just wasn't a thing.
It just wasn't a thing.
But that I was just reminded of all of that. I was like, oh, I watched this movie so many times and it was just not something that I paid any attention to.
No.
Immediately drawn to just like the effects are incredible. All of the mythology.
So
and
fun.
I think my favorite kind of device in that movie is the clay figures. You know, Zeus, they has this room that kind of looks like the Parthenon.
Yep. And they've got the little people that they move into the arena.
It's almost like a Lego minifigure collection. But they just like the gods are just literally moving physical people and you just wake up. Like Perseus wakes up and he's in the arena in Joppa and he's just like, oh dang, how did I get here?
They lay him on his side like he's sleeping.
He's
and
just
then he
laying
wakes
there.
Yep.
Burgess Meredith comes out and he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I don't know. I was looking at the moon. Oh well, you were looking at the moon. That's the problem.
Don't look at the moon, boy.
The gods, they're going to totally fuck with you there.
Right.
So that
here's a sword. Oh, a sword.
By the way, here are your gifts.
Here's a helmet.
Yes.
That'll make you invisible.
And here's your quest.
Yep. Now you got to go do some stuff to, save the town from the Kraken.
What do you remember about that story? Like, what are the elements that kind of stick in your own mind?
So I thought I was terrified by Calibus.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just scared the bejesus out of me. But now, as a grown-ass woman, I'm like, that is such a cool character.
Yeah.
Like, that whole story and how tragic that particular story is.
Yes.
So, like, he doesn't scare me anymore. But as a kid, he did. And I loved the witches.
Yeah, the Stygian witches.
The Stygian witches were great.
Freaking terrifying.
So terrifying. And their eye and how, like, the kind of the comic silliness that happened in there. It was serious, right?
Yes.
Like, Perseus needed to get that eye and he needed to ask his questions. But it was, their kind of silliness that I always liked, too.
Mm-hmm. Nope. I love that. I was watching just the makeup that was used to like blind the witches, and it's so very heavy-handed. You know, it's very obvious.
Yeah,
but just those scenes and the look and the feel of them, it was really good.
Yep.
They were pretty great. The whole device of Pegasus, because you got to be able to get places, right?
You got to be able to move around, and you need a good steady steed to take you.
Flying horse, need that. And, the reason this all came up when we got to talking about Clash of the Titans anyway, you had shared something about Ray Harryhausen and props in that movie.
So somebody found or made their own life-size replica of Bubo, the owl.
Yes.
And I was like, God, that is so cool. I really would like a full-size replica of Bubo the owl, and that could be mine, and I would have it forever, and I would love it. So of course I went to Google to try to find one, and you can't find one. But somebody made it, and it triggered all the memories of this particular movie and how much I loved it.
That's fantastic. I was looking to see which goddess had Bubo, and it was Athena.
Yeah. She was ordered by Zeus, I think, in the movie to give Bubo to Perseus to help.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not giving you my owl. So she had the mechanical Bubo made.
Do you want to hear like a Captain Obvious trivia tidbit that I just saw?
Oh, yeah.
The genus name Bubo is Latin for owl. So it's called
Owl.
So there you go.
There you go. They didn't have to go real far to find a name for that owl.
Nope, they didn't. But that Latin word will be known forever.
It's Bubo.
Because of...
If that comes up on Jeopardy, you are going to be unstoppable.
I will know that. So Clash of the Titans, not the only sword and sorcery film.
By a long shot.
From the 80s.
Not even close to the only one. There are so many. It's like we had a huge just plethora of cool sci-fi and fantasy films in our youth.
Any other faves for you that stand out? We have a list of about 25, but many of them I did not know. But there are some that were kind of iconic.
Well, I know you and I are both fans of Krull.
Yes.
Which, terrible name, awesome movie. Like, just kind of a meh name. Great movie.
The props in Krull are pretty epic.
Yeah. Now, does that one remind me? Is that one with James Amos? Was he in that one?
We're going to look and see.
I don't think he was. No, he was in, was it?
Ken Marshall. Freddie Jones.
Okay. No,
Liam Neeson is in that movie.
Liam Neeson is in Krull.
Plays Keegan. Cyclops is in that movie. Oh, I love that character.
Robbie Coltrane.
I have not
Holy moly.
watched Krull from beginning to end for a very long time. So it might be worth a rewatch and then maybe a debrief.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When we need to work our way through, any sort of need to dissociate from reality. We could just do a play-by-play of that one. That was kind of up. The movies that I remember all together. Krull, definitely one. Lady Hawk is one.
Oh, Lady Hawk is so good.
Time Bandits was in that space. You had talked about the Conan movies.
Yeah, those were not, like, I remember when those came out, and I don't know if it was because I was a little girl, and Conan didn't really click with me. There was something very boy-oriented about that particular movie. So I never really got into it until, I think I watched it much, much, much later.
Okay.
Do you remember, as a kid, did you watch it?
I remember when those came out. I feel like that was more of a timing thing.
Okay.
I'd have to look. Conan. There we go. 1982. Interesting. I also wonder if they were... I would have to sit down and watch it again. I don't know, though, dude. I was going to say, I wonder if they were a little more sexual, but that didn't matter because I still talked my mom into letting me watch Excalibur, but she would pause it during the super hot sex scene.
Oh, no.
Because I was so in love with the King Arthur story and knew everything about that. Yep. And I had watched the musical Camelot, which is very different from the movie Excalibur. But I wanted to see it so bad. So I just remember her sending me out. Basically, we had the on the VCR the remote control plugged in to the VCR.
Yes.
And it was just a play pause remote. So when it got to the like hot sex scene, she just like paused it and sent me to my room. And of course I'm like standing right in the frame of the doorway, like listening as hard as I can because I'm like, what is going on?
That's actually probably worse, Mom. Like
and then
sending you out. That
I think
had to make
she
you
like
wonder.
turned it all down. I mean, and then she called me back in like in a couple of minutes and we got to watch the rest of the movie. But I was just so into those stories and films, and I read a ton of fantasy and science fiction or books as a kid. Fantasy kids.
Fantasy kids.
There you go.
No, I loved that movie too. That was a great one.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Also a phenomenal cast in Excalibur.
Yeah. Well, we watched Lady Hawk in my house last week.
My daughter, talk about this experience.
Yeah, my daughter and her boyfriend were in town. And so I was like, oh, and he had never seen Lady Hawk. And I was like, oh my God, you've got to see this movie.
Yes.
And sat down to watch it. And to me, totally holds up.
Okay.
The soundtrack did not hold up for them.
Interesting.
It was.
What was it about the Lady Hawk soundtrack that threw them off?
So the music just didn't hit for them.
Okay.
Because it's Alan Parsons.
Oh.
And it's so synthy and it's over the top synthy.
Sure.
And it doesn't make any sense synthy.
Uh-huh.
Like it's supposed to be epic and sweeping and everything, but like it just doesn't jive with the background of what's happening.
So it's music of the time.
Right. Like it's 80s music on a movie that was set in like the 13th century, right? Like it just doesn't jive.
Got you.
So it's really weird and they couldn't get past that. And I'm like watching it totally engrossed. I'm like, oh yes, Lady Hawk, she's going to turn into a hawk.
It's so cool.
She's going to turn into a and it's got Matthew Broderick. It's so good. And I'm geeking out, right? And they're like, what the fuck is this music?
What is happening?
This is dreadful. And I'm like, but if you could just get past the music.
Just keep watching.
Yeah. So they firmly believe if you could just like cut out the music or like put other just generic or soundtrack behind it, they would like the movie, but they couldn't get past it. It was very sad.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But that movie, you got Matthew Broderick, you got Michelle Pfeiffer at her utterly stunningest.
Yes, she's always gorgeous. So young, so beautiful.
So beautiful. And then Rutger Hauer.
Yes, we were talking about Rutger Hauer earlier.
Dudley guy. So great movie. That one, I love it.
I love the role of insane prisoner. I just saw that in the cast list.
Insane prisoner.
Insane prisoner.
There's a guy. Yeah.
Good luck. Insane
prisoner. And he rhymes, if I recall correctly. So Lady Hawk's great. And then, yes, you mentioned
Beastmaster. Starring.
Oh, Mark Singer.
Of later, V.
Not V for
Fame.
Vendetta.
Not V for Vendetta.
But V.
Phenomenal film.
The
TV
lizard
series.
Alien people thing.
Yeah. Alien invasion.
So good. So Beastmaster TV show, right? I think it was a TV show on top. It was like a TV show spinoff of the movie.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You sound like you're an expert.
Well, there was a movie and then there was like a TV show.
Not an expert.
I am in this, yes, because
I love it.
Beastmaster. He had ferrets.
I do remember
tiger.
The ferrets.
He had a hawk. He had a
he should have gotten together with Mighty Isis.
Oh,
she also controlled a lot of They could have
Beastmastered
hung
their
out.
way out of John.
Wow.
John Amos is in it as like his bud. So like the dad from Good Times.
Oh.
In case you need to. You need a
you're
reference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go, my golly. Look at that.
And Mark Singer really wasn't wearing much in that movie.
No, we talk about women being objectified. It must have been really a challenge to act in that belt.
It was breezy
that he had on there.
It was probably a little breezy.
And he's fully grabbing ass.
Yeah, he is.
We romanticize bizarre things in our culture.
I freaking love that movie, though.
It is so good. And it's not about reality. It is fully about the fantasy and
absolutely
just
And the fact that his nemesis in this movie was Rip Torn just absolutely kills me.
Well, he's super evil.
Freaking Rip Torn.
There's Max.
Later on in Men in Black.
The names were not complex. Dar, Kiri, Max.
Max, the bad guy, Max.
Was the bad guy. We're going to keep this simple.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So there were these. All of these are live action, right?
Yes.
Actors, real human beings doing things.
But we had cartoons for
running
this type
around.
of stuff too.
We did. What cartoons do you remember?
I remember the Herculoids. Do you remember them?
Gosh.
So they were originally in the 60s. I think it was like the mid to late 60s were the Herculoids.
Got you.
And
oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah, I had to pull up a picture. I do remember them.
And so it was a family, and they had like
these little dudes. These little
Smoo. I think they're called Smoos.
The names of the Herculoids on a planet Amzat, renamed Quasar in the revival, because Amzat had been trademarked. I don't know that that's true. The space barbarian family, Xandor, Terra, and Dorno, fight alongside their giant pets, laser dragon Zoc, space rhinoceros Tundro, rock ape Igu, and the shape-shifting duo Gloop and Gleep to keep their planet safe from invaders.
Yep. So they originally like mid-60s, and then they did have a reboot, which I think was aired kind of at the same time as Space Ghost.
Oh.
I think they were all like in the same
Interesting.
era. Yeah.
Okay.
So you had the Herculoids, then you had Thundar the Barbarian. Do you remember Thundar?
I do remember
And
that.
he had his like lightning sword. Thundar was friggin' awesome as a cartoon.
Yep, there is a Space Ghost Herculoids fandom.
Yep.
And a whole wiki. It's pretty awesome. Man, this is like we're scraping the memory banks
I know.
here.
Ready for some dumb trivia?
I am always ready for dumb trivia.
All right, dumb trivia. Thundar the Barbarian, the cartoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Was canceled, even though it was super popular and people loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was canceled to make room for, wait for it, Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, I have really mixed feelings about that.
I know. You shit can Thundar the Barbarian for Laverne and Shirley. I know.
That
I don't know how it tracks.
Feel fair.
I know. I don't even know how, like, in your TV lineup that makes any sense.
That's what I was wondering.
But I read that last night and I was like, wait, what now? Dumb trivia. But anyway.
Thundar the Barbarian, Laverne and Shirley. What if Laverne and Shirley were the Herculoids? Like that mashup. I
don't even know.
They're like running with Lenny and Squeaky on a planet in space.
Gleep and Glip.
Yeah.
Lenny and Squeaky.
Mm-hmm. Bottling beer and trying to escape from alien invaders in Milwaukee. Could happen.
You missed a good one.
What did we forget? I mean, many things.
Dragon Slayer.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yes, of course. My Christ.
Dragon Slayer.
Okay, let's bring this one up.
So
also a 1981 film. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this movie.
Dragon Slayer is a 1981 American dark fantasy film.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Directed by Matthew Robbins from a screenplay he co-wrote.
Yes. They're going to get like munched on.
So Dragon Slayer, the special effects for that particular movie were created at Industrial Light and Magic. So the Star Wars in the Star Wars world.
Nice.
The plot, basically Urland, a 6th century kingdom near the river is being terrorized by Virathrax Prerogative, a 400-year-old dragon. And to appease him, the king offers its virgin girls, selected by lottery twice a year.
That's what I remember. They're like tied to the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to like rescue them. They're going to get munched.
Yeah. So an expedition led by the hero, a young man seeking help and who seeks help from the last sorcerer, Ulrich. Yeah.
This one I might have to watch again.
Yeah, I feel like this is
pretty fantastic.
There's some great dragon action in this one, isn't there?
Oof. There is great dragon action.
So
you think about these dragons compared to like all the words are gone out of my brain. House of Dragons.
Yeah, very different.
Thank you.
Very different.
We've come a bit of a way. Yes, I remember this. There you go. She's not on rocks. She's tied to a post. She's going to be dinner.
Do you remember? This is a later movie.
Okay.
But speaking of dragons, I had this just moment of like, wait, there was a movie with dragons and Sean Connery.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Dragonheart. And it came out in 1996. So I had to Google that real fast. And I just Googled Dragon Sean Connery.
And it popped right up.
It popped right up.
I don't remember that one. I didn't watch it. That doesn't mean anything.
You should watch that one.
I should go back and watch Dragonheart.
I would watch Dragonheart.
So what do we think is important about this genre of film?
Well, I think it really does boil down to this need for escapism, even as a kid, right? This interest, at least for me, it was this interest in something that was so fantastical, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's not something that, you saw every day. And as a little girl, like it wasn't, I wasn't into cars. I wasn't into stuff like that. I was into like heroes and fantasy and dragons and flying horses and all of this magic and stuff that still to this day, I hang on to, absolutely hang on to.
Mm-hmm. The fantastical nature of it.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
Probably similar. I mean, there's the hero story. Often these stories are someone who comes from nothing or is like unsuspecting or not necessarily kind of the anti-hero that rises to the occasion and then overcomes great evil.
Right.
We all need a lot of that in our lives. And then just the fantasy, the magic, mythology, anything that kind of ties us back to stories that give us kind of meaning and agency in our lives in the face of, inescapable odds or overwhelming evil. I mean, the story arcs are similarly reflected like in all the Star Wars films.
Right.
So, and we need that. Something to hang on in that particular way.
Yeah.
And then the effects separately from that, I think the development of being able to see creatures and mythology out of books that we would have read as kids or read in school, to see that play out on the screen with live actors is, that's movie magic.
Right. It brings it to life and you're like, oh, wait, if Mark Singer can have 2 pet ferrets that he controls.
Right.
Can't I?
Can't I? If Harry Hamlin can fly on a Pegasus, can't I do that? And that movie magic and the willing suspension of disbelief when we enter into contract with watching a film is what makes it so.
Yeah. It's fun.
Important,
fun,
I think.
Fun.
And your daughter was not able to engage in a willing suspension of disbelief
because of the music.
Because of the music of Alan Parsons.
Stuck.
And that's okay.
And Alan Parsons, to be fair, has its place.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
Of a generation.
Yeah. I mean, he is the eye in the sky. looking at you.
You have been listening to Gen X Women Are Sick of This Shit. Hey, Megan.
Hey, Leslie.
What do people do if they want to find us?
Well, we have a website that people can find us on, and that is genxwomenpod.com. We also have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram account as well. We have a YouTube account where we put YouTube shorts and other little tidbits up there. We have a TikTok account.
I don't talk the tick or tick the talk.
You don't tick the talk?
I do not.
I barely talk the tick, but I did put a TikTok up.
We're explaining the internet to people again.
That's
okay, though.
It's great.
We need to know how the internet works. Can people buy merch?
They absolutely can. We have a merch store on the website itself, and we also have an Etsy store, too. So they're just pretty easy to find. It's just Gen X Women on Etsy.
And if you are listening to this podcast, presumably you found it somewhere. And while you're there, give us a review.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Throw some stars at us.
That'd be great. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Ooh, 5.
Maybe 10.
And also make sure that you are hitting subscribe so that you're notified whenever a new episode drops.
Most important.
We also have a 5 minutes of fame that I think we should tell people about too.
Hell yes. We want to know your stories, your 5 minutes of fame stories. You can send those stories in on the website, or you can call 1-888-GEN-X-POD and leave your story for us, and we will play it live in our next episode. Or 2 or 3.
We'll listen to it on a little red phone just like Batman.
That'd be cool. Let's get a bat phone.
A bat phone.
I think that's it.
I think you're right.